Okay, this video is about forward contracts. Forward contracts are a lot like futures contracts, except there are some keen differences. So we're going to talk about that, how the way a forward contract works. Um, Forwards are typically used, most often used in foreign currency transactions. So I've got an example here of a company. It's buying some tequila from a distributor in Mexico City. And I made these numbers up. I have no idea what tequila costs per case, but just suppose it costs 6,000 pesos per case. And the request is to buy 20 cases to be delivered in December and paid by January 15th. Right? And so that all adds up to a total amount of 120,000 pesos. Now we've agreed on a price, but what you have is the purchaser has a business in the United States and has profits or losses in dollars. All right, they're going to be dealing in dollars. The seller is in Mexico who wants to receive pesos. So from the purchaser's point of view, they've locked in the price, but they've locked in the price in pesos. And so they're concerned about what's going to happen to the dollar peso exchange rate. If it moves the wrong way on them, they're going to, they could end up spending more dollars than they want to on purchasing this product. Okay, so this is where a forward contract comes in. As I said, it's most often used in currency exchanges. These are not traded on exchanges. So with futures contracts, you have these big centralized exchanges, or just one really, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, that deals with standardized contracts, and there's enormous volume there. But futures contracts typically are not that way. I'm sorry, forward contracts are not that way. A forward contract's an agreement between you and the bank, usually. The bank will step in and say, hey, look, we'll go into a contract with you and we'll agree to exchange this foreign currency for you, with you at a price in the future. Right? Now, because there is a private contract, these are private contracts, agreements between you and the bank, there is default risk. Meaning, if I guess this was recorded at a time when Silicon Valley Bank was in the news as a recent bank failure. So if you had forward contracts with them, then you probably can't fulfill them right now. I don't know if somebody picked those up, but there is the possibility there that the bank can't live up to its end of the bargain. Most of the time, though, however, you're dealing with large banks here, Chase Manhattan, Bank of America, and the chances that they're not going to be able to fulfill a contract that expires in the next year or so is pretty slim. Okay. All right. Banks will often provide quotes here for the contracts they're willing to enter into. I've got a particular example here of quotes for exchanging dollars for pesos. And so, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month quote here. Now, the way to figure out these quotes is to realize that the currency that's in the denominator is the one that's being bought or sold. So in this case, you're either buying pesos or you're selling pesos, right? And so these quotes are in dollars per peso, and it's the peso you're buying or selling. Okay. So if you're selling pesos to get US dollars, you get the bid. If you're bringing US dollars to the transaction and buying pesos, you get the offer. Okay. Right. Yes. So that's how that works. And in this case, is Glenn buying or selling? Well, in this case, Glenn has to pay in pesos, but his profits are in dollars. He's a company based in the United States, so he's going to have dollars, and he's going to take them to the bank and wants to buy pesos. So will he get the offer of the bid? Well, in this case, you get the offer because you're buying the pesos, which are in the denominator. Okay, and then the contract, how many US dollars will he need 3 months from now? Well, he can take this contract right here that says we'll exchange 3 months from now at 0.0413 pesos per dollar. I'm sorry, dollars per peso. Dollars per peso. Okay. And so Well, he needs 120,000 pesos. Each peso is going to cost him $0.0413, so that's $4,956. Okay, and the point is, by accepting this contract, you can lock in that price today. Right now, 3 months from now, you may say, well, I wish I hadn't done that. The exchange rate moved in my favor. But actually, you know, a lot of times people are willing to do this because you sleep a lot better. Right? You don't have to worry about it. And you look at if this is a rate that you can live with, that is acceptable, you know your business is going to be fine, spending this amount of dollars on product, then you can lock it in today. And if the rate isn't, you know, if the rate moves in your favor after that, you say, well, it's, you know, that's the price of insurance. Okay, not having to bear that risk. Okay, all right. There's, you know, these are obviously a lot like futures contracts, but they're just a little bit different in that, you know, futures contracts tend to be these standardized contracts that are traded on an exchange, where forward contracts is usually just between you and the bank. It's not, and you don't have the margin accounts and those kind of things. So I've got here, yeah, the forward contract settles at the end of the contract, so you don't have to post margin. It's not mark to market every day. You don't have that going on. Whereas the future settles daily, mark to market every day. There's some credit risk, however, in the forward contract. If the counterparty is not able to fulfill their obligations, then you know, you're left holding the bag there. The futures exchange, you know, the way those large exchanges are set up, they've designed them in a way so they virtually have eliminated the chance of default risk from the other party. Okay, I've got here, I believe this is in the textbook. I believe I have I can't remember which edition. This page number comes from probably 1 or 2 editions past, but it is a table in chapter 2 of the Hall textbook there. So, okay. All right, so that's forwards and futures. I have this problem too here. In the Zoom materials, I have an example spreadsheet with problems and solutions there. So I encourage you to practice that problem too at this point. Okay, so that's forward contract.